Oh, you can't use your phone. What? You can't. That's going to fuck everything. All right. Technical issues. Won't be long. I'm just going to get my rubber band organised. We are live. This is the joy of doing things live.
Oh my God! What has happened to me? Oh.
Okay, hi. Anne here, Renata.
Hello. Oh no. Actually, that's a good thought for me.
I'm not quite sure what's going on here. Welcome to the Paranormal Party Podcast. How do we turn that off? Now I've got it. What the hell? I'm not going to be able to get through this. Okay, we're professional. We are professional and I'm a wizard. Hi, Charmaine. Oh, now I've got a torch on my face. That's even better.
You're the winner now. Now, hi everyone. This is Anne, and I'm Renata, and we are here for our very first Paranormal Party podcast.
Absolutely.
And the idea with these sessions is to keep it light and happy and fun for all of those that would love to be out investigating on a night like tonight, Friday, but unfortunately are stuck at home. Oh, look at those waits. And you can't get out for whatever reason. Maybe you don't have enough money, maybe you're not well, maybe you can't get to a particular site because it's too far, and you're sitting at home on a Friday night thinking, what the hell do I do with the evening to keep myself entertained? Well, here you go. We are now entertaining you. So, hi everyone. We are here at Oz Paratech Central, and we're going to do a bit of a chat to you tonight with a couple of things that we've sort of organised for the evening. Please be aware that this is our very first. We have absolutely no experience in this at all.
Got no idea what we're doing. As you can tell by the things that keep appearing on my face.
We are hopefully fumbling through, and it's going to just get better. Now, we do not have any special guests tonight, so it's just us. But hopefully...
Oh, hang on, it says go live with Glenn Mark. Shall we...
Okay.
Let's see what happens. We're going to press this. Bring Glenn
Oh.
camera Mark. All right, we're going to add.
So, you've got us tonight, but as time goes on, hopefully we will have some guests who will be coming on camera with us.
Oh, your boss.
Who will come and have a chat as well. So, tonight we're going to talk about...
Oh, good question. What is that?
What are we talking about, Ian?
We've got a few topics to discuss tonight. We've got a tech talk. The thing I wanted to cover was the use of IR and UV lights with cameras on investigations. And particularly for the beginners who might be starting out and they don't really understand what's going on. So I thought that would be a really good starting one. And upcoming events that might be happening.
Hi, Glenn.
Renata, you were going to talk about something?
Yes, I'm going to talk about the problems of hiring sites and why often our tours are the cost that they are, and that normally is to do with site hire. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And you're going to give us a tech talk about the SB7.
Yeah, that's the gadget of the week.
Yeah, gadget of the week. And if anyone has any questions over the time period that we're going to be on, please put your questions up. We can see them. And what we will try and do is answer them at the end of the session.
So I leaned out and went on to her.
So, if you've got anything that you'd like to ask,
please do, and we will endeavour to answer that. And we'll give you some ideas of what's coming up as well. So, there you go. Okay, Anne,
Over to you. Okay, so I am working in Oz Paratech with Roman, the wonderful husband of 30 years. We've come across a problem that we've noticed with people who are wanting to start out in the field. And they want to get themselves a camera of some form or other and get out there and start taking photos or videoing. And they don't understand that to work in the dark, you're taken seriously. To work in the dark, you need a modified camera and special lights. So I'm lucky enough to have one of these, obviously now, which is the Sony HDR night cam. It has a switch on the inside, which this is a new one I just bought, and of course I can't open it. I don't know if you can see it there, but it says on there, night shot, if I got it upside down, and you switch on the night shot. So at the front of this, it actually has a little built-in infrared light, so that it allows me to see in the dark. So that's quite an old camera that was made by Sony, and there's not much around that does that sort of thing for a reasonable price. So what you're looking at is, if you're going to take still photos, you need a modified camera. So this is one that's had a filter. How do we stop that? It's annoying me now. It's one that has the filters taken out of it to allow the camera to see outside the normal spectrum. So we normally see in the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, or as I like to call it, Roy-Gabin, the rainbow. But to see in night vision, we need to go into IR. Now, it's not actually IR, which means infrared. It is near infrared, because true infrared is actually just heat. And what we're doing is we're using these lights. Let me get over to here. So this is an infrared light. Turn it on. I'm going to put the battery back in. Oh, there it is. So I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, you can see the lights on there. Now, when you have got your night vision camera that has been modified and had these filters taken out, you will be able to see in the dark using these little lights. So that's just a IR or infrared modified camera. Then you can have what's called full spectrum. That's where you have the other end. So you've got your red, we have the near infrared on that side, and then we go right through to the violet, and on the other side that you've got your UV or near UV. So that's what this one is. I love this one for the cameras. This one actually has, let's see that. Oh, there they are. So that's got the IR lights at the top, but are you ready for the UV? Switch it on. Woo! You're blinded now? So, yeah, I don't know if it's probably going to be too much for the cameras, but you can see that you've got those lights down the bottom. Obviously, in a darkened room, that is a visible light that you're going to be able to see, whereas the near infrared ones, you can hardly see them. But it definitely lights up the camera that has been modified. So you can get still cameras to take your still photos, and you can get your video cameras to take the video footage. To connect it all together, because you have this, and then you've got this, right? Get the torch. Right, there we go. You can't obviously walk around. So what they often get is a bracket that connects the two together, like an L bracket, and it screws on there, and there's a little hole underneath there that screws on there as well. These ones are made by Ghost Stop, and we get them in from America. They're really light. It's got the little 9-volt back there, and I saw a little video the other day that explains why they don't have the cover on there. Because when you're an investigator and you're in the dark, you don't want to be mucking around trying to get tops off things, and it's just to pull it out, whipping you one in, and you're on your way again. So that's why there's no backs on those. I dropped the battery. Like that. Don't over tighten this part down here. Right? There's even a sticker on there saying, please note, do not over tighten them. Sean actually makes these himself, right? So he's got the, what they call those things, the 3D printers.
Mm-hmm.
It's really nice and light, so that's why they're made of this plastic, and it's you can hold them for longer. Don't over tighten them because they will break. So hang on, we seem to have lost the. Oh, hi, Alex, and hello, and Christy and Glenn. And I miss you.
What would be a perfect scenario to use one of those lights and cameras? What do ghost hunters want as a result by using that?
To be able to see in the dark through the camera, and to capture things that might be lurking in the shadows that may not come out under full light. In spiritualist times, they always used to have everything in the dark because they thought that the light would break up the expectation. And the most of the time it was to hide shenanigans in the dark. But the ghost hunters like to work at night. And also another reason why we work at night is because it's quieter normally.
The likelihood is there's less disturbance by using that in an investigative scenario than someone wandering around with flashes going off all the time.
Oh, flashes.
So you're still getting the evidence that you need, but you're not flashing those massive lights into people's eyes and blinding.
If you do have to use a flash, say flash before you use the flash. It gives people the chance to close their eyes, not lose their night vision. And also, flashes are very good manufacturers of the well-known ghost called.
Do we go into that for the first session?
Is that too?
It's too soon.
It's too risky.
It's too soon. We'll keep that for a second.
All right. All right. So if there's any questions on those ones, just let us know. But
and then you sell those?
We sell the lights. Yes, we do. So you can get either there's a wide IR light which gives a nice even light of the whole room. You can get straight IR lights which give you like a spotlight. You can use a combination of the two to give you a stronger overall view of the room. The one I like to use to assist my Sony is that one, the wide IR. That gives a really nice even light. Obviously, but if you go outdoors, it's really difficult. You need something quite powerful to light up outdoors. But for an inside area, this one, it's really good.
Yeah, for most of the type of investigations that most of us are going to do, we only need the basic equipment, unless you're someone professional who's going into big sites, castles, and all of that type of jazz. Then don't worry about spending all the big money to buy the big stuff. Stuff you can get from places like Paratech is by far enough what the guys will need.
I'm just wondering why we've got so much above our heads. We should have got rid of, brought that down a little bit. Because we don't want to angle it down, because I learnt by angling it the wrong way, you end up with a small head and big boobs. Yeah. Anyway, I think we're now on to...
Let's talk a little bit about site hire and costs of tours. This is a tricky subject, and it's come up recently. It comes up every so often when we have people who will come onto our Facebook pages or web pages and ask that dastardly question, why are your tours so expensive? And the issue is that in most cases, by the time we put on a price to cover our expenses, the cost of our tour guides that we might have on, and we will often use volunteers, but volunteers also have to be recompensed for their time and their effort. We also have the major cost that's involved is the site hire. And in Australia, we do not have the same amount of opportunities to hire sites as we would have if we were in America or over in Europe. We have a small selection of sites. And in most cases, the people who are running those spots have to look at whether it is going to be beneficial for them to actually have a site that is allegedly haunted. So number one is to convince people who own sites that are open to the public that this is a good idea. Now, once again, America, England have overcome most of those issues because they've been running ghost tours for a lot longer than we have here in Australia. But in Australia, it is still actually quite difficult to get people to feel that they will benefit from having a site open to ghost tours. Ghost tours have had a lot of bad press as well as good press, and it only takes one or two bad ghost tours to shut a site down. So straight away, most of these sites have quite high prices. And it is not uncommon for me, for example, who runs ghost tours, to have to spend $400 to $500 a night, and that's for 2 hours to hire a site. And that's every single time I go. So it's not a one-off yearly price. It is every single time I go. So the issue is, how do I then cover my costs? I have to look at the amount of people I have on my tour and try and balance that out with not having too many, because people complain that there are too many on a tour, but also covering my costs and going home with possibly covering enough money for myself to put petrol in the car, because often I will run tours at a loss for myself, because that's just the way things go. So it is a hard job, and it's a hard balance. It's no one pays a teacher to teach for free. No one pays a nurse to go and work in a hospital for nothing. You are getting entertainment. You wouldn't go to a show at a theatre and expect to sit down and pay nothing for the entertainer to entertain you. We are, in many cases, doing what you might call entertainment, and so we need to be compensated for that as well. So we're always trying to be as fair as possible when we're looking at prices. But once again, we have to look, number one, at what our site fees are. That then has to be spread out over the number of people we want to take on a tour. And then we have to take into account how many you would like. I mean, certainly I've had questions from people who say to me, for example, oh, why can't we do a private tour at Maitland Jail, for example, with 5 people? Well, you can, if you would like to pay the $1,000 that it costs to hire that site. You can go in there for, with a couple of your friends and, spend the time for the price of the hire. Other than that, unfortunately, you're stuck coming on a tour with people who will take over that cost for you. And the risk. And on top of that, we also have insurances to pay, liabilities to pay, and all of that sort of stuff. So just bear in mind that it is a very good question to ask, why are your prices the way they are? But just be aware that we have a lot of costs that we have to cover.
Insurance, advertising.
Before we even make a dollar. And we try, and everyone I know, every ghost tour operator that I know tries to do their best for anyone that is wanting to come on a tour. We're not out to try and rip you guys off. We truly aren't. But most of us have second jobs or third jobs to try and balance our lives out and pay our own bills. And that's just the truth of it. Yeah.
And I know in our particular case at Q Station is we are actually contractors. So Q Station has the location and they hire us to run Paranormal Investigator there. So we don't, the money you pay, which I think is $125 per person, we don't get that anywhere near that. We get a very small fraction of that. But it's our love job.
So in most cases, we don't even get an opportunity to say how much money we want for a tour. A wage is allocated to us, and it's up to us to say, okay, we'll accept that, or no, we won't. In which case, we don't get a site.
Okay, so Charmaine will be dual IR, be work with my Sony 4K video camera. If your camera is designed to pick up on IR, which if it has night shot, then yes, it should be IR capable. So yes, the IR will definitely work. I don't know about the UV. It depends if it is a full spectrum. You'd have to look at the specs on that to see whether it is a full spectrum or just the infrared. Hope that helps. And what's that? It's a business. Things cost money. A bit rude of people to ask why it costs what it costs, I think. Yeah. Well, I mean,
Christy, everyone will end up asking that question sooner or later in whatever, I guess, area they're paying money out for. It's a reasonable question to ask, but I hope that we've sort of explained it a little bit for everyone. But yes, it is a business. It's not a charity. We don't run a charity. Otherwise, we would be under the Charitable Act, and you would be paying all of this. If you know anyone that'd like to give us some money, or a sugar daddy out there somewhere that would like to...
Old ladies, yeah, come on, waiting for you.
Shush.
Then
yeah, we can do those for you.
We'll do a deal. Yeah,
So sugar daddies are open.
now, Alex KS, are you still there? I know there's a bit of a lag. I'm just hoping that Alex KS is still there. Because Alex, would you like to talk about Paracon and give it a bit of a plug? I'm going to add you, and we'll see if you can get no answer. Oh, Alex, this is your chance. Wait, all good till Daddy wants some sugar.
That's her job. That's her job. We're going to talk a little bit about Paracon. So if you haven't bought tickets yet for Paracon, it is the penultimate paranormal
Party. We're going to the bees again.
This year, and it's being held at Q Station in Manly. So there is actually a site that you can go to find out all the information. It is just called Paracon Australia 2018. The lovely Alex Caius is the gentleman who is organising it and running it. And we have an absolute plethora, not a P, of guest speakers coming this year. Now, they will include Bill Chappell, Dave Schrader. Who else is coming?
We've got Dan McMahon. Hey, McMahon. And we've also got Gemma Regan. And so I'm glad I wrote these down now. Gemma Regan is into UFOs, I believe. And we've got Greg Doyle, who is into astral realm. Astral realm. Would be interesting. Karen Rentalski. Oh, we love Karen. She is
she's a tarot reader, but she is also a comedian, and she's hilarious.
She is really fun, and she's vegan, so please forgive her, but, you know, she's fun. We've also got Kerry Nelson, who's a psychic medium, and Marilla Beglino, who is into the macabre, I believe.
She has a podcast, I think, Macabre Mondays. Yeah. So if you're after a really good podcast.
And there's, I believe, someone called Anne Reckovich.
Yeah. I don't know what rubbish you'll be talking about.
I'm still trying to work out the name of the talk. Yeah. Oh, I've closed the page. This is not good.
No.
No, our list. All right. Okay, so we've done that.
SB7. SB7. Point SB7.
Gadget of the week. These things, I think you Australians are bloody eating them for breakfast. The SB7. All right, so you see these on the TV shows. You see Zach Baggins walking around with it, and here's one that's out of its box. All right, get the pussycat out of it. Generally, you see another speaker over the top of it, which is one just sitting on top of that computer over there. You should see this setup here. This is hilarious. We'll get a behind the scenes photo for later. Anyway, so that's how you normally see him on around saying, "Is there any demons here? Do we have a demon in our midst? Give me a sign." No. I'm going to get in trouble now. I'm going to hell. So, Spirit Box. It scans through the radio waves. You can set it to AM or FM, this particular model. It's like when you get into the car and you press search, so it can lock into all the stations, and it will go, but it never actually locks onto the station. It keeps scanning. It is thought the spirit can speak through the white noise. Some people will use a Faraday cage. You may Faraday cage to put their SB into SB7. So what that is a metal bag, and you've got to make sure your speaker goes into it as well. Everything has to go in and get tucked up so that the radio frequencies can't go through. So that will cut out a lot of the radio chatter. One way you can do it rather than using these bags is to get a shoebox, line it with foil. Yeah, the foil thing is real. You've seen people with foil on their head, well, it's real.
That's my husband that works.
Yeah. So, and you put all of that into a shoebox with a digital recorder to record the session, and you ask questions. But always leave that gap of 15, 20 seconds after each question to give them a chance to answer. Most of the time, you're missing the responses. I've had amazing stuff come through on the SB7, and hopefully we'll get to hear some of that at Paracon. As I was getting up leaving the room once, we had the SB7, it said, this is a whole sentence over several wavelengths, find Sam for me, okay, find Anne for me, Sam, as I was getting up and walking out of the room. And that was in the one female voice over probably 8 to 10, 101.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, etc. stations. So to get that quality of sound coming across that many bands is pretty cool. So, yep, they are available from us, Oz Paratech. We just had a shipment come in, but they go like hotcakes. So if you want some, get in quick. They only came in 3 days ago, and we've sold 5. So there's only 15 of them. Don't muck around if you want one. We'll try to get them in as quick as we can, but we're limited to what we can bring into Australia. We're only allowed to bring in $1,000 worth of equipment at a time. Otherwise, we get hit with GST, which means we have to put the prices up for you guys. Because at the moment, we don't have to charge you guys GST. We're managing to stay under that threshold. Not much longer, I think. So we'll do our best. Yeah. So that's the gadget of the week. The Spirit Box. And everybody wants one. And it comes with a free speaker. Now, just a little note on these speakers. So that's the speaker. In the bottom of the box, come on, find a face. Yeah, hurry up. There. Down here, there's a cable. That cable plugs into that, and that plugs into your computer to charge. Now, this is a speaker. It is not a microphone. Yes, it looks a bit like a microphone, but it's not. Plugs into the side. So we have 2 outlets on there. You've got the little headphones, and you've also got spout, which I only realised probably 2 years ago means speaker out. I've got right sometimes. So you pop that in, and you turn it on by pulling back this.
I'm not watching on too
So there, it's on now. So you've got to push that little switch underneath the foreskin. I mean the thing on the top there, the coating with fluff. Words, I don't know. What time is it? It's late. Oh my God, we've been going for half an hour. I told you we'd go for half an hour. Anyway, so that's a speaker, plugs into the side, makes it louder for you. What comes free?
Now we're going to finish up tonight with just a little bit of a plug. Hello, Charmaine. How are you, sweetheart?
Ladies go swanted. Love it. They're awesome people.
They are. we're going to come and visit you soon.
Okay.
A little bit of a plug with some things that are coming up in the local area here. As you might have noticed if you go onto Newcastle Ghost Tours Facebook page, we are selling out madly in events, which is great. But I have posted some new ones today. We have our first Brosman House tour coming up in March. That is now open up for sale. And we also have another Miss Porter's house that we have added in because we've had so many requests. And we only put 8 people on that particular tour. It's a very tiny little house. We don't want to have too many people in there. So literally all the money that's made from Miss Porter's goes to Miss Porter's. So but we love doing that because the house is precious. And the ghosties that are there are absolutely gorgeous.
They're very generous.
Very, very generous. And it's a very safe space for anyone who is wanting to dabble in investigations or dip their toes into the spectral realm. Then I do suggest coming to a Miss Porter's House event. So Miss Porter's House is up. Brosman House is also up. I'm actually also going to be doing a history walk with a wonderful gentleman here in Newcastle called Ed Tonks, who's going to take us through Stockton. And so that is also up on the Facebook page at the moment.
I had like this kind of
Yeah, it's pretty amazing place, Stockton, really.
Yeah.
Pirates, convicts, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And so we have an absolute full year ahead. Lots and lots of different investigations coming up. Anne's got some Q Station stuff coming up as well.
Yeah, we've got 2 spots left on the one that's on the 22nd of January. We've got 4 spots left on the one that's a sleepover in March. And then there's some dates later in the year. But if you go to the Q Station website and look under Paranormal, or Ghost Tours, look under Paranormal Investigator, you'll see all of our stuff there. We also have a Prince Henry Hospital event coming up. I won't call that a paranormal investigation, but it's more of a taste of the paranormal investigation. We are actually hired by Randwick Council to provide an evening of entertainment there with a taste of the paranormal investigation and table tipping and technology. Yeah.
Maitland Jail also, just to let you know, next month's tour and March's tour are sold out. So you will be going on the April list. But be aware that there is also a paranormal night that we're having there every 2 months. And that is a 4-hour investigation. But it is only for people who kind of have been on investigations before. One of the issues we've had with our ghost hunting nights there, the extended ghost hunting nights, is that we've had some issues with people coming on who want to be super, super serious on the 4-hour investigation, and we find that there are people coming on that particular one who have never done investigations before. And so it's this jumbled mess of people who are really, really serious and those that are there just for a bit of a giggle. So we want to just try and make sure that everyone that comes on the paranormal night, the 4-hour extended investigation night, which you'll know which one it is because it's a more expensive one, has done some sort of investigation or ghost hunting before, so you sort of know what to expect. But the Ghost Hunting 101 is really very much open to anyone, even if you've never done a ghost hunt before. We're quite happy to have you there and turn you to the dark side.
Just another point in regards to tours and things like that. If you're going on a ghost tour, that's more likely to be stories and big groups, and the scare factor is built in. And you'll have people like doing things to give you the scare because that's what it's about. It's the ghost tour. If you do something called a paranormal investigation, that's more of a serious nature. Hopefully smaller groups and using technology to try and capture evidence of the, it's getting like paranormal.
So on that note, I think we shall finish because we have done very well. We've done half an hour for our very first paranormal party podcast.
I know, right?
all the 3 people that have been on tonight. 3 of you
There's been
gorgeous
more. There's
people.
some dropped out. Alex K.S. dropped out, and Glenn looks like he's gone now.
We thank
Scared.
you from the bottom of our hearts, because this is a big thing for us to try out. We did have a group running here in Newcastle last year, but people are just so time poor at the moment. It was really, really hard to actually make a night where you can come and join in. So we're actually hoping that this takes the place of actually doing that. So we hope to be on most Friday nights around this time.
Can we make one more session?
Oh, yeah.
Where we going to go?
No.
Oh, I wanted to shoot.
No, you cannot. No, we're waiting. We'll wait.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Charmaine. Thank you, Christy, and thank you, Denise. Thank you, Glenn, Alex, and everyone else who's been there watching us. And we shall hit the finish button and hope that it actually saves. And yeah, we'll see you this time.